Yes, but the way that it is profound is that it is falsifying the entire idea at its basis. It's not accepting it and saying, "Oh no, look, we're going to score good on the ESG metrics," because the ESG metrics is designed to arrive at these shitty answers. I think where it's really making a dent in their narrative is that it's really forcing people to confront what I think is this is the angle of attack that I like to take in my discussion of this.
Yeah.
It's forcing people to confront the central issue that they need to ask themselves and to stop wanking around with ridiculous virtue signaling. Is energy use good or no? Is it good for you or no? And you need to ask this question in a meaningful sense of you and your own energy use, because a lot of people wank about this question, and I mean wank not just as a joke. It's truly wanking because they just think about it in a
I
completely
like it.
worthless way. In that, I'd like for my energy use to go down by 90%, and I'd like it to all be on wind and solar. And sure, it's just as completely as ridiculous as wanting a time machine at this point. If you like to have the things that make your modern life possible, if you like having an internet connected device at home, if you like having electricity, if you like having hot running water, if you like having a functioning sewage system, you need to consume a lot of energy. A lot of energy goes into building those things, into operating them, and to making sure that they're functioning. If you like to have your premature born baby get an incubator machine that has 24-hour electricity so that the kid won't die, you need 24-hour reliable electricity. You need giant power plants that can deliver this at large scale at low cost. There's no alternative to this. We can keep wanking about what we'd like to see because we think CO2 in the atmosphere is rising too much. And CNN says that's a bad thing because the science says that's a bad thing. Or you can think realistically, what does it mean to actually drop down your CO2 emissions by 90%, or down to zero, as people really think? Like, how can you actually live like that? Try and think of it as an engineer responsible for your own life and try and do it. Billionaires themselves can't do it. Bill Gates has all the resources in the world and he can't live his own life with zero carbon. He's got to take his jets and he's got to use his electric devices that are made using highly intensive industrial processes that require shit tons of energy, and yet he keeps using them. He keeps doing this. He keeps making money out of it. So what kind of crisis is this if those people won't give this up? And maybe we really should redefine where the crisis really is here, because the crisis is that those people are, because of this fucking retarded moronic idea they want to take away basically industrial civilization. I mean, it's just, they want to take away from us our ability to survive winter comfortably. They want to take away from us our ability to travel around the world using the full extent of the technologies and the machine that we've developed in the 19th and 20th century. They want to take that away and bring us back to living like mid 13th century peasants relying on wind energy in order to do our daily chores, unable to move around, eating bug soy, all of it essentially to fight inflation. So what Bitcoin is forcing, to go back to your original question, what Bitcoin is forcing us back to asking this question: is it good to spend energy or not? Is it good to spend energy on meeting your own needs? And the answer that Bitcoin is providing to people, because it just gives people number go up, so they have to confront this question very powerfully and very vividly, is, yeah, you know what? I'm willing to fucking spend electricity in order for number to go up. Yeah, you know what? I personally, I was living in Lebanon and we had hyperinflation, and it's because I spent all of that money on Bitcoin electricity that I managed to get out of hyperinflation and not get ruined financially. Was that worth the electricity that I spent on it? Hell yeah. If you think about it as an appliance that I had in my home running, instead of the distributed network, if I had all of these machines, my share of the machines running in my house in order to buy the Bitcoin at the time that I bought it, it would have probably consumed more than my washing machine. Was it worth it? Yes, it was. Was my washing machine worth it? Yes, it was. What are you going to do about it? The idea is we need energy in order to make our laundry happen and get done quickly. We need it to travel quickly. We need it to make our money work quickly. We need it to make everything better. And we need to come to terms with that. And we need to understand the true extent of that, because without that, we truly go back to a very, very, very ugly future, which is like the pre-industrial past, where we don't expect to live past 40, and most of us die before 30 even. We don't want that. We want to have sewage and modern wastewater treatment, and we want to have pumps, and we want to have the technology and the electricity that makes all of this shit possible. And for that, we need abundant and cheap energy. And that's what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin is pushing abundant, cheap energy around the world. And it's showing us that the answer that the world really needs is more energy. The real crisis is people taking away from us energy. The real crisis is all the poor people in the world that aren't able to have 24-hour electricity because their stupid fucking ministry of whatever planning bullshit is beholden to the World Bank and all of these insane bureaucracies that believe in this insane bullshit about getting all of these pre-industrial societies to move to a fourth industrial revolution at one hop, where they're going to use technologies that are not even economic to use in the developed world. Solar and wind and all of that bullshit, it can't be used for more than 10-15% of the grid capacity, even in the best of days, and usually it's added to grid capacity. They want to build the entire grid of all of these countries based on these insane technologies. That's what Bitcoin is really up against. That's where I think we have the good story, and I think it's more than just Bitcoin. Bitcoin's war to win. It's going to force a reckoning for this entire lie, and I think it's time for this stupid lie to come to light. I think it's time for people to just speak up. It's time for smart people to stop virtue signaling about the fact that they accept the science. There is no fucking science behind it. It's all a load of bullshit. It's all about control. It's just a bunch of fucking actors.
This isn't hype on your behalf. It's been talked about for years now about moving to a post-industrial era. You have these sustainable development goals that started off with the Agenda 21 plan that began at the Rio Summit in 1990. It's now morphed into the SDGs for 2030, right? They're kind of behind schedule. But everything that you're saying is effectively on record. Maybe not quite as eloquently as you've put it. It's much more subtle than that, but yeah, that's exactly where things are being taken. So, all right, you've got me wondering then, do people really know? And is there too much of an educational issue to cross there, like a chasm, in getting people to realize that energy use is good? And actually, should we just be boiling this up to a more simplistic view of what it's going to be like if you just don't have any money? Because that's really, if you want to look at it from a Michael Saylor point of view, right? Money is energy, Bitcoin's energy, and I think people can probably grok having no money more easily than having no energy in these virtue signaling times of people wanting to be more sustainable, in inverted commas.
Yeah, but the onus of proof here is, the reality is that Bitcoin consumes a shit ton of energy. There's no way around it. It's around possibly, something in the range of 0.1% of total global consumption. So 1 out of 1,000, which is just enormous. There's no way around it. It does consume a lot of energy, and it consumes a lot of energy compared to the alternatives. So when you say to people that the world without money, well, no, we can have a world with money without Bitcoin. Is it really worth it? I mean, we could have government money, which seems to be working fine for most rich people, at least in rich countries. It's all right. We can have gold. We can do silver. We could, most people think we can do money out of anything. They think copper can be money. They believe stupid Marxist ideas about money being an illusion, and they think that we could just collectively hallucinate anything into money. There's no need to collectively hallucinate your very, very expensive, environmentally harmful, silly hallucination that is Bitcoin. Why should we do that? The only way to answer that is to show them why it is fucking worth it. And it is fucking worth it because it has number go up technology, whereas all other forms of money have number go down technology. All other forms of money lose value compared to all the things that you want in life. And all other forms of money are crappy as saving mechanisms. You can't save in gold. Gold doesn't keep up with inflation. The dollar doesn't keep its own value over time. Everything loses value over time. There is no money in the world. There is no other way of making money whose value goes up except to take the humans out of it and to make it run on electricity. It's automation, it's industrialization, it's more reliable. It runs on electricity. It consumes a shit ton of electricity because it is fucking worth it. Because it's already saved many people's lives. Many people escaped hyperinflation because of Bitcoin. Many people escaped capital controls and all kinds of insane shit because it fucking works. And this is why, the correct answer is cry harder. And it's the correct answer because this is really what people like this need to be doing. They need to just sit and cry and cry and cry and reach what Eckhart Tolle calls the dark night of the soul, when your worldview dies and you come to the realization that there's something very wrong. And then you wake up the next morning and you make a change in your life and you head away from your past illusions. This is what these people need. So they need to be told to cry harder, because this is what is correct. And it's also good that they must cry harder, because it's it's not like we can stop Bitcoin for them, and it's not like if they cry harder they can stop Bitcoin. So all that they're doing is just providing people who don't think like them cheaper sats for a longer time, and by basically foregoing satoshis themselves. So it's a very generous gift from them, which I accept by telling them to continue to cry harder, so to allow me to stack more satoshis. Like, I think it's
Gracious of you.
it's gracious of me, but it's also like really the only way that you can settle this kind of difference of opinion, because it's not an argument that can be resolved by showing them statistics about how actually Bitcoin is doing this and this and that. It's a fundamentally incompatible worldview, wherein I think human beings matter. I think I'd like to live in a world in which human suffering is alleviated, and in which humans are able to flourish, in which humans are not repressed, humans are not acted against violently against their will, humans are not struggling to meet their needs. My metric for what makes the world good is human flourishing and lack of human suffering. Their metric for what makes the earth good, what makes the world good, is an earth free from human impact. We need to just make sure that they understand that, and that's what needs to be dismantled. Because otherwise, if you don't change that, if you don't take that sick anti-human view, which is the basis of all of this, which is the idea that humans are a burden on Earth, and that the Earth is a paradise that we have ruined by all of the things that we do out of our greed and evil capitalism. If you have that kind of worldview, then, well, yeah, obviously Bitcoin is going to be bad, but also washing machines are bad, and laptops are bad, and everything is bad. And, obviously you can't expect consistency from these people, because they'll happily continue to use their Twitter, because CNN tells them Twitter is fine, and your mobile phone is fine, but they won't like Bitcoin because CNN told them that Bitcoin is not fine. So there is there's no consistency there, and there's just what needs to happen is just the exposition of the idea of understanding that energy use is a good thing, and that Bitcoin is going to consume a lot of energy, and that's a good thing, and that's a very good use of energy. I mean, we're replacing all of the world's central bank with a shit ton of electricity. So be it. Sounds like a fucking bargain. Oh, and it's not up to them individually to decide, because the only thing that they can do is to just not take part in this. And so the people who think that this is a thing that is worthwhile get to buy the Bitcoins, and the people who don't buy the Bitcoin. So I don't see it as an argument that can be settled in any other way. Bet against progress, bet against the sewing machine in favor of hand weaving. See how that works out for you.